Okay, so we're gonna try this again. This is Gainesville, Texas. Downtown Cook County Courthouse lawn. You can see behind me here one of two Confederate monuments, Confederate statues here in Gainesville, which were erected during the Jim Crow era during the early 1900s, at the same time that black communities and black residents were being completely ousted from the local area. Just as in Denton, there was a local community called Quakertown. It was a predominantly black middle-class neighborhood of businesses and residents that was forcibly removed during the early 1900s here in the Gainesville area. There's another Confederate monument in a local city park, which is also being demanded for removal by local black residents. All of the elementary schools are named after Confederate generals, Confederate heroes. So again, local residents, black and a diversity of residents of multiple ethnicities and races are coming together to demand the removal of Confederate tributes in Gainesville. Protests here started off pretty rough and brutal with a lot of militia counter-protest response. That has dwindled down as more people start to come out and protest, and as attention has been drawn to that. Hi! Here's one of my favorite local Gainesville residents.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Say hi. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Vicky Manuel.
Vicky Manuel.
I'm going to try to jump this off today.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to try. I'm
Yeah.
usually in the foreground, but I guess it's time to step up.
Right. So that's one of the things I was addressing earlier is usually we have a younger face on Pro Gainesville here leading activism, but one thing that I've noticed over the last few weeks as the white militias and supremacists have not been attending as much, it appears that there's more inclusion among the black community here. More people are coming out and feeling inspired to come out and make their voices heard.
Yes, it's time. You know, we've been quiet long enough, and I think it's time to come out and show support for our future. You know, kids that's coming up and going to grow up in Gainesville.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to make a stand. We've been so in the background for so long, for so many reasons of fearing to stand up and speak for ourselves. It's time for us to let our voices be heard.
Are we marching tonight?
Well, we're going to march around the courthouse.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna still protest around the courthouse.
Okay. So we're not marching into neighborhoods tonight.
No, not tonight.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
Not tonight. But
Sure.
we're gonna make our presence known.
Yes. So I noticed one thing too is like we have a couple officers up here,
Yes.
but I have not seen a large inclusion of city officers recently.
No, I haven't either. I guess they don't want to waste any more money.
I guess not.
Maybe they want to go out and protect the streets of Gainesville.
I mean, how about
I
that?
guess.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna stay and hang out and see who all shows up.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a big crowd.
You know, I think it's been interesting to see how the crowd has grown and changed over time. I think that for sure there's something organic happening.
Yeah.
You know, I think people are feeling inspired to come out and just support black voices, which is impressive and awesome to see.
Yeah. And it's time.
Okay. I don't recognize this Cook County deputy here.
I don't either. He was actually in that black unmarked car over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one?
Across the street. Right there.
That black one over there, that Escalade? Interesting, it passed me on the highway on the way here.
That's, he came through first. Then he went that way, and then he come back and the other two showed up.
Huh.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. Makes me wonder who he is.
It's kind of right here. Yeah, I don't know him either. Who knows?
Interesting.
They love you.
The problem is I can't, I'm going on multiple streams tonight, so I'm not able to interact with the audience. I can't see their comments. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, which is all fine and good, except for, once again, I'm not able to see the commentary or interact. I'm going to see if I can't get a Lieutenant Plank to tell me who his new deputy is here. So right now, looks like we've got about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Just a little more than a dozen protesters here on the square. Still a little early. From what I understand, we're not going to be doing any. So the younger organizers, pro-Gainesville organizers who tend to lead the marches here, they are out of town this evening. There's a group of Three Sisters. Pro-Gainesville is a predominantly black-led, female black-led organization. And the Three Sisters, 3 of the founding sisters who normally lead protests here, are out of town tonight, or at least out of town at this moment. Not here, but as we were just talking to Vicky, and there's a couple other older members who are stepping up tonight. Justin, who is an awesome white ally and co-founder of Pro-Gainesville, he is here tonight to help lead. But I think it's great that you know, the priority is being given to black voices here in the community to kind of be the face of what's going on here. And again, there's a very, as you can see, there's really a very small presence. The only LEO presence we have here are my good old buddy, Lieutenant Chris Plank, here behind me. And he's got a deputy here with him who I do not recognize, who I'm about to ask him about his identity. I'm going to get his name and badge number since I don't recognize him. Lieutenant Plank! Sir! Well, I'm just curious, I don't recognize this deputy here with you tonight. I've never had the pleasure. Is he new to the force? No? Can I get your name and badge number, deputy?
What do you want to use it for? You want to try it out? I haven't tested it yet.
Sir, I'm asking for your name and badge number. You're obligated by the law to give it to me. Are you going by Plank's rules tonight? Cook County, Texas, deputies don't have to give their name and badge number? Interesting. Well, there you have it. There's a new deputy working here with Cook County tonight. And apparently, Lieutenant Plank and the powers that be have told him that he doesn't have to give his name and badge number as required by state law. That's comforting. So, I found it concerning that they brought in a new deputy. I have to say that I find it even more concerning that they don't feel like they have to identify themselves. There's only one reason why a deputy or an officer would refuse to identify themselves. We'll ask him again. So, looks like we've got about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Got about 16 folks here now. Definitely a smaller turnout than we've had in the last few weeks, which, you know, with some of the leading faces not being here tonight, that's unsurprising, but we hope to see more folks turn out. Usually that's the case. Hey, Justin.
Woman and man up. They say stay down,
Justin.
and we stand up. We on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
So this is, again, one of the Confederate monuments here that we were addressing. If you haven't ever seen the inscription here, looks like most people are congregating around the monument to send a message out. Hey, Justin.
Hey.
How are you, darling?
I'm good. I'm tired.
Yes.
Long day on the road.
Yes. So I don't know if you caught that, but I was trying to get Lieutenant Plank's new deputy there, who I don't recognize, to identify himself. I asked him for his name and badge number, and when I did, they went inside.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
They've told us in meetings that the sheriff has instructed all of his deputies not to talk to Jessica. So if you were to ask them a question, they are not going to answer you straight up.
The problem is state law says that they have to identify themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a problem with that. It doesn't matter whether they like me
Yeah.
or not. I asked for a name and badge number. They're obligated to give it to me.
Well,
So I'm going to ask him again
yeah.
because I want it.
And we have it on recorded him saying that he directed his deputies not to answer you. So you got that back up as well.
Uh-huh. So, I don't know if you guys could hear or not. Again, if you're commenting on this stream, I know that we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope. But if you're commenting, I'm not able to see your comments today since I'm going to multiple streams. I'm going to ask Michelle at Living Blue in Texas, if you see a really important comment or information, if you could text that to me. I can still see your text messages. So if you guys have any information that you see as we're streaming tonight, if you think that you have information that would be beneficial or helpful, it's really important, feel free to post it in the comments. I do have a way to get that information. People can get it to me who are watching the comments and the feed. But as Justin was just explaining to me, the local authorities here are so intimidated by my presence and consistent coverage of what's been going on here, and they should be, because it's what's led to ACLU involvement and a lot of official monitoring of the illegal activities being conducted here by local authorities in collaboration with white militia movements and white supremacists. So the deputies here have been instructed that they're not allowed to talk to me, which is all fine and well except for one thing. In Texas, when you ask an officer to identify themselves, they are required to give you their name and badge number. They don't have to give you anything else. They don't have to explain anything else to you, but they are required by law to identify themselves. So them refusing to do that is obviously problematic because I'm a tax-paying citizen and a resident of the state of Texas, and like everyone else, I have the right to know whose bills I'm paying and who is protecting and serving me. It's just a crosswalk, buddy. That's fine. It's cool. Try again next time. Maybe you'll figure it out. So we're gonna, it's gonna be an interesting evening, I think. Again, we will not be marching through residential neighborhoods as we have the last couple of weeks. Tonight's efforts are being led predominantly by older members of the community. We do have Justin Thompson here from Pro Gainesville. He's here behind me, standing on the monument with his sign. And we do have, again, as I was pointing out, it looks like what's happening tonight is members are predominantly conglomerating around the statue, the Confederate monument, which stands nearly as tall as the courthouse itself. This courthouse is on the Cook County Courthouse lawn in the middle of downtown Gainesville. It is the center of justice here in Gainesville, and so you can see why people, especially persons of color, would have a problem with this monument. In particular, if you read the inscription, it is incredibly problematic. The inscription here states, "To the women of the Confederacy whose proud ministrations to our wounded soldiers and sailors soothe the last hours of those who died far from the objects of their tenderest love, and whose patriotism will teach their children to emulate the deeds of their revolutionary sires." Well, it's interesting how one can describe revolutionary activism as patriotism when referring to Confederate soldiers. Obviously, Confederates were working to revolt against the United States of America, yet this monument stands as a testament to their patriotism, similar to how white supremacists call themselves patriots today, because neo-Confederacy is real, especially here in the South and in Texas. Now, if that inscription doesn't tell you enough, we can move over here to the, excuse me, squeeze past it. If that isn't enough for you, we can move over here to this side of the monument, which has an inscription which reads, God holds the scales of justice. He will measure praise and blame, and the South will stand the verdict and will stand it without shame. So again, this monument is not just a testament to Confederate soldiers, but to their cause and their purpose of the South, which was to sustain white supremacy. And again, if that inscription doesn't make it clear enough, this one above all others does, as it says, O home of tears, but let her bear, this blazoned to the end of time. No nation rose so white and fair, none fell so pure of crime. So this monument, which stands at the center of downtown Gainesville in North Texas on the Cook County Courthouse lawn at the center of justice in this community, bears a blatant ode to white supremacy. And local black leaders and their allies have been demanding its removal for more than a year now. And in response to the National Black Lives Matter movement, they have been protesting every Sunday on this lawn and conducting marches into the community. Anybody who has watched my feeds for some time now knows that these marches were initially met with armed white militias, which were called in by local authorities to terrorize activists.
Shaking like dog martins.
In order to intimidate them, which did not work. People are here anyway. And so what we have tonight is a group of folks. Instead of marching this evening, looks like people are predominantly gathered around the square. Hi guys!
Hi.
Thanks for coming. Good to see you. So usually we march to the... Have you guys been here before? Every Sunday. Right on, cool. I think tonight we're just marching around the square and gathering around the monument. That's what I heard. Just so you know. Sorry, I don't recognize you. I see a lot of people, so my bad. And so tonight it looks like most folks are just going to gather on the monument, on the square, and march around the square.
God is a living man. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all.
I am really confused. I wish I could get $1 for every time one of these dudes almost like runs over the curb or almost runs over the curb, because they're too busy looking over here. Yeah. So what little police presence we've had, I guess I scared them off by asking them to identify themselves. The sheriff, Cook County Sheriff Gilbert, has informed his deputies that they are not to speak to me. And apparently that includes their legal obligation to identify themselves. Motherfucker. It's called a crosswalk! I was just getting on to that dude for pushing on y'all in that crosswalk like that.
No, it was already. We wasn't coming across this way.
No, I'm saying when y'all were crossing, that dude was pushing through instead of giving you your time to cross. I was getting on to him for it. I would never in my life assume to correct you, madam. So again, y'all, if y'all are watching, if you see anything, recognize somebody, feel like it's important information I need to know, feel free to let me know. I can get that information. There are folks watching and monitoring the comments who can get me information. Hey, I'm going to take a walk around the courthouse and maybe the block to the north Just in case you see who's posted up. So, somebody's glasses are on the ground here. I don't know who those are. I'm going to take a walk around the block here and see who's posted up. A lot of times these guys, the police and or white militias. And at this point, I think that the issue that we're dealing with isn't so much as white militias anymore as it is those in the police department who thought it was appropriate to call those militias in. Local white supremacists who are just embedded within the community. We do have some folks that drive by. Here's my buddies again. It's funny. Oh, come on, don't run away! What are y'all so afraid of me for? What'd I ever do to you? You ever in your life seen the biggest bunch of fucking pansies? Run! She's got a camera. They're just afraid of being made to look stupid. They ought to be. They are fucking stupid. That's right. That is my weapon. You know what I mean? It's true. It's why I bring this camera and why it's important to document and why it's important to watch live streams. Because, quite frankly, major news medias aren't covering nonviolent protests. They'll fly a helicopter out at the tip of the word riot. God forbid they come out and document hundreds or dozens of people non-violently assembling to demand their rights as they're terrorized by police or white militias. No one's interested in covering that. So if you're just tuning in, again, I'm in Gainesville, center of Gainesville, Cook County, Texas, North Texas, where a local, predominantly female black-led organization called Pro Gainesville and their white allies have been protesting non-violently, calling for the removal of white supremacist monuments since at least as early as May now, while calls for the removal of the monuments have been ongoing far longer than that. Regular protests and activism started about then. And it does look like we do have perhaps not sure what's going on here. Maybe this is just a photo shoot. Yep, that's a photo shoot. So what I'm doing now is just walking around the blocks on the outskirts of the square. We know that sometimes these folks like to... Now, I'd like to point out something here. Now, these folks over here doing a photo shoot, and obviously they're not doing anything wrong. They are blocking traffic in the middle of a road by conducting this photo shoot, and I'm going to bet by the fact that there's no barriers here that they don't have a permit to do that, and quite frankly, I don't blame them. It would seem rather overzealous to get a permit for what they're doing, but they are completely blocking traffic in the middle of the road, conducting a photo shoot. You might also notice that they're white, and yet a month ago, protesters, predominantly black, conducted a non-violent march on these same streets right here in Gainesville, and 3 days later had warrants. 3 days later, they had warrants issued for their arrest for walking on a public street with police escorts. So meaning the police knew what they were doing, were escorting them and not doing anything about it or forcing them to get out of the road. Yet right here, same thing is happening, and of course it's not a problem, nor should it be, right? It shouldn't be a problem for people to use public streets that they pay for. So I don't mean to criminalize or demonize what those folks are doing, because again, I can't emphasize enough, there's nothing wrong with what they're doing in and of itself, although it's not necessarily the wisest thing to do without at least someone warning traffic. But here nor there, the reason I speak to it is because obviously I'm speaking to the double standards, the unfair and unequal enforcement of the law that is so consistently the case in these small rural communities, especially here in Gainesville and Cook County, Texas. I appreciate you getting ahead of me on this one. It looks like we do have some pretty calm streets tonight. I'm glad to see that. Especially when we have such a small number of protesters. That makes it really easy and tempting for assholes to want to come out and act like assholes. And so I'm walking back up here towards California Street along Dixon in Gainesville, headed towards the Cook County Courthouse lawn, where we got, I think when I walked away, we had maybe just shy of 24 activists attending protests calling for the removal of the Confederate monument. Hey, how y'all doing? And so I'm going to assume, hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't have any counter protesters over here. Usually on these benches over here on the opposite side of the street is where usually I'll have usual regulars of counter protesters, even just a few, but here's what we see today. Protesters are lined along the street here in front of the Cook County Courthouse underneath this Confederate monument. Which, ironically, this is how protests started out here in Gainesville in the evenings. Every evening, they would come out and protest here along the street. And then it was merged into a weekly event once a week to make it a larger event. And so they've been participating in marches through local neighborhoods. And again, although they have been marching through local neighborhoods for the last few weeks tonight, some of the main organizers are not here. And so the decision was made to just march along the courthouse. And how you doing? Good to see you. And they're just going to hold signs here under. I don't know if y'all caught that. That truck came by me like a fucking bat out of hell through the crosswalk, which we've seen several times now as people are crossing the crosswalks. I'm gonna walk over here and look for my cop buddies again. I'm gonna walk over here one more time. I miss you. Hey, I'm around. Are you on Twitter?
I need to get on Twitter just to...
I'll be back on Facebook at some point.
I know, I'm like, what are they doing?
I'll be back at some point, I promise. At some point. It's just a matter of... It's crazy, you know. So those guys all trolled my Facebook page and reported it as a fake profile. So they did it by the hundreds, and that's what got my profile taken down.
Yeah.
And so I had to submit ID verification.
You have to prove that you're really...
I have to prove that I'm really me, and it still says pending verification, you know, slow verification because of COVID.
Yeah.
But what's funny is I have a fake profile that's a pretend white supremacist account that I use for info, and it's still thriving.
It's still up and running.
Still thriving.
The real one they take down.
Still thriving. Good to see you, son. No, he's not. Yeah, he's taking care of some other community work. I just want to see if my buddies came back out. Sneak back out. So I'm going to see if these cops came back out over here. Yes, literally sneak around the corner. Nope. So I guess all the Cook County deputies are getting paid to, hey, how you doing? They're all getting paid to hide inside the building. So all these Cook County deputies are getting paid overtime to hide inside the courthouse because none of them have the balls to come out while I have my camera recording. And the reason for that is because when they come out, they tend to act like assholes. And I tend to call them out for that. And so I guess their solution is to do as their sheriff, Terry Gilbert, has told them to do and not come out at all. And there's some really interesting intel coming out right now about the involvement of active Cook County Sheriff's deputies who are engaging in white supremacist activity in coordination with the Aryan Brotherhood. And that information continues to come out by the day. I mentioned that the last time I was here. I would imagine if I worked here and I was under investigation for conducting activities with the Aryan Brotherhood, I would avoid people like me who want to bring that topic up as well. But there's a real simple way to solve that. Oh, that's a cop over there. He's wearing an earpiece. Did you catch that? What you want to bet? What you want to bet? So this guy over here is acting like he's nobody, but if I could bet 20 bucks on it, I'd say he's not. I'd say he is a cop. How you doing? Good. Sure is lovely out here tonight. Yeah. Hope you're getting paid overtime. You deserve it. Yeah. I'm turning the camera. So, I'm wearing a special shirt tonight. You'll notice the chief of police isn't out here. He's hiding like he normally does, but I had some friends make me this really cool shirt. Every Sunday, Chief, if you watch my videos, you know where that's from. It's a promise that I've personally made to the Gainesville Chief of Police, which is that I will be out here every Sunday, so long as activists in this community are out here, because they deserve their voices to be heard.
I used to be in the choir in church, and that was about the song. You don't sing in the choir? I sing.
I don't believe you. I'm going to do a quick sweep here and get some of these signs slower. I'm going to catch some signs. Oh, I love the ears. I love that you're including trans lives. That's so important. So again, we are in Gainesville, Texas, on the Cook County Courthouse lawn, underneath a Confederate monument erected in the early 1900s, this one in particular in 1907, at the same time that the black community was being forcibly ousted from the Gainesville area. Just a decade before, the same people who erected it launched the second Ku Klux Klan in the area. In 1923, more than 20,000 Ku Klux Klansmen marched and rallied under this very Confederate monument and on this very courthouse lawn. And so local activists are demanding the removal of this monument. And just coming out here to hold these signs is such a big deal here in North Texas. I don't know if anyone heard. Does anybody hear about Jonathan Price? Yes. Life taken early this morning.
What happened to Jonathan Price?
Sorry?
What happened to Jonathan Price?
Jonathan Price is a black man who grew up and lived in Wolf City in Hunt County.
Texas?
Yep. And in the early morning hours this morning, late last night, however you want to look at it, Jonathan Price, who was a community leader, went to break up a fight at a gas station he was at. The police responded. He's a bodybuilder. They saw a well-built black man and assumed him a criminal and shot him 3 times. Twice in the chest and once in the back, and killed him.
They're going to be having some marches out there then, huh?
Sorry?
They're going to be having some marches out there then, huh?
There are activists there now, and the last update I saw, they were being confronted by local racists and white supremacists. But I know that Dominique Alexander is there from Dallas, and some other activists are turning out. I'm trying to follow the situation. It does look like there is some local news media starting to pick up the story, but if you haven't yet, I would encourage you to look up Jonathan Price in Wolf City, Hunt County, Texas, and learn his story. Another life lost in Texas today. Also, if you're watching and you're not familiar, I would ask you to look up Lashadian Shemuel in McKinney, Texas, and his black state of an emergency, a proclamation released shortly after the murder of Tatiana Jefferson, who was shot and killed by police in Fort Worth, Texas, in her own home, as her nephew watched. Lashadian Shemuel is a city council person in McKinney, Texas, who has been working to bring attention to these issues for some time now. And after he announced his black state of emergency, he was ostracized by the mayor of McKinney and white supremacists in his community, who are now trying to revoke his election, trying to throw out the votes of the predominantly black district who nominated him and elected him into his position. And so, as we have seen historically in Texas, anytime black communities or black representatives garner any power or attention, the response is to delegitimize them, to criminalize them. And so, nothing new here in that sense. Good to see you. How you doing, baby?
Hi.
I'm glad to see you. Glad to see you out here doing the good work.
Yeah.
Proud of you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
The first one of these I came to, I saw someone.
I love you.
My niece is burning me to death about you.
Oh, don't be worried about me. I promise I'm okay. I promise. I'm okay. I'm well protected. I'm well protected. This is a good friend of mine, Miss Sherry. Say hello.
Hello.
I love Miss Sherry. I can't remember, how long have you lived here? Your whole life, right?
My whole life, 65 years.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a good, we're in the sun. Let me come to this side of you. So Miss Sherry has lived here her whole life. And is it, I can't remember, was it you that told me about Quakertown?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there used to be, a lot of people will, well, and maybe not a lot of people, but some people might recognize the name Quaker or Quakertown during the early, well, shortly after the Civil War, after emancipation. A lot of black people, of course, were looking for land and opportunity, and even though it was legal for them to obtain land, and even if they may have had the means to do so, of course, white people owned most land and or were in control of county or state programs that were charged with distributing that land. And so even despite that, they weren't able to obtain it, especially in Texas. I mean, you have to remember, in Texas, slaves weren't even released immediately upon the Emancipation Proclamation. It wasn't until Juneteenth, because Union forces had to be sent to Texas to force whites who held them in bondage to release them. They were released by force by Union soldiers who came and made them who came and made Confederate Confederates released them. So in Texas especially, these neo-Confederates retained power at county and statewide levels. And when it came down time to, you know, facilitate land distribution, black people were not met, of course, with positive response. And so one of the ways that they did that is there were Quaker communities, and these Quaker communities were staunch abolitionists. And so these Quakers were some of the few groups who would sell land to black people, or sometimes give them land. And in response, you'll find a lot of early black communities in the South, especially in Texas, were bestowed with the name Quakertown in honor and tribute to the Quakers who helped them obtain that land to start their communities. And so we see that in Denton, where I live, there's a small community. There was an area named Quakertown. It was a predominantly black middle-class neighborhood with homes and businesses. It was thriving up into the 1920s. If you're interested in learning more about that, I would encourage you to look up Chelsea Stallings' master's thesis through the University of North Texas about Quakertown. It is about the most thorough account that you'll get. And basically, long story short, there was a college for white women built north of Quakertown, and the powers that be decided that they didn't want white women having to walk past or through a black neighborhood to get to downtown. And quite frankly, the black community became so strong and powerful that they wanted them removed because, of course, it challenged their identities, their ideologies. How can whites be supreme if an entire black community can thrive without white endorsement? And so the community was forcibly removed. The same women in Denton County, the same United Daughters of the Confederacy group and City Federation women who rallied together to raise funds for a white supremacist monument, the Confederate Monument in Denton County, launched a campaign for a whites-only park and a new fairgrounds in Denton. And of course, they decided that that should be in the same location that the black community known as Quakertown was. So they voted to have that area possessed by the city via eminent domain. And they then, within a few months later, the Ku Klux Klan was formed, the members of which were the same people, the same neo-Confederates, their descendants, their wives, their sisters, their brothers, their sons, their children. And they forcibly removed Quakertown residents into a swamp pit in the southeast part of Denton, where they were forced to build over, and where the majority, southeast Denton is where the majority of people of color reside in Denton today. Well, here in Gainesville, a very similar situation. There was a local community called Quakertown, and
lived in Quakertown.
say it again, I don't think they heard you.
My mother was from Denton, and she lived in Quakertown.
Oh, she was from the Denton Quakertown.
She was from the Denton Quakertown.
So, did your mother move to Gainesville after the Quakertown ouster?
Yes. Matter of fact, she moved because she met my dad, because my dad was working at Camp Howie here in Gainesville. And that's how she met my dad.
Wow.
And they ended up moving to Gainesville.
Wow. And so there was a black community here as well that was forcibly removed. There were black-owned businesses, multiple black barbershops, a thriving black community, which about the same time was removed. And we know from historical analysis that the clans in Cook County and Denton County were intimate. They worked together. They rallied together. We have many clippings of leaders in Denton coming to Gainesville for these large rallies. So it does look like these guys are getting ready to march around the square instead of going into the neighborhoods today. And I think that's because it is such a small group. They've decided to march around the courthouse square instead of going into the neighborhood. So I'm going to march with them. Miss Vicky, I love you. Don't worry about me, okay?
That's just when you get old, that's what you do.
Well, don't worry about me.
You don't worry about everybody.
I worry about you.
You worry about the people you love.
That's right. I love you too. Ooh, my knees are asleep. Oh, Lord. Carry me. He said no.
handle those viewpoints.
Fair, fair.
So we are continuing to ask the court commissioners to take the statue and move it to Lindsay, move it to the Mort Museum, just get it off
We're
this
just
public
tuning
property
in.
because
We
it
are in
doesn't
the city
represent
of
this county as a
Gainesville
whole.
in Cook County, Texas.
Another thing that's happening is there was a proposal placed for the remodel, the renovation of BP Douglas Park, and that proposal seems to be going forward. The city has approved the proposal, and so we go into fundraising phases, and so this is a big accomplishment to uplift the black community here in Gainesville. That park, it's taken years for them to even get restrooms in that park. And then when they finally petitioned to get restrooms at that park, the Gainesville City Police likes to boast about how they put in the sidewalks at that park. So now it's going to get a complete renovation. There's going to be splash pads for the kids. There's going to be a new playground. It's going to be very nice. It needs to be done, and it should have been done a long time ago. We're talking about other things that we can do in our community as well to draw these conversations and keep these conversations going, because unfortunately that's what's going on, is nobody wants to talk about the issues. So until we sit down and we talk about the issues, until people come out and talk to us and talk about the issues, they're not going to learn anything, and it's going to be this constant struggle. So again, thank you, Tori and Amara and Jasmine are here with you in spirit. They wanted me to tell you to keep fighting on. We're just going to chill here for a little bit longer and chant. I'm going to give the megaphone to any of the black leaders in Gainesville who wants to speak. I think Vicky's up first. Vicky's amazing, so we're going to let Vicky talk, and then anybody who wants to talk after that can. You don't do nothing. You just talking.
For one thing, I'm not a leader. I'm always in the background, but it's time to step up. And another thing, on the school board, they're trying to rename the Robert E. Lee School. I want everyone to go on there and submit a name. For me, I would like Booker T. Washington, for the simple fact, the one we had, they tore it down. And it was an historical landmark. So why not put one back up? So that's my opinion what the name should be. And another thing, you know, a lot of us don't come out and support this cause, but we need to. We really do. You know, when Tori asked me, did I mind stepping up? I didn't mind, you know, I was a little afraid because I'm a little shell shy. But it's for a good cause. We got to keep on fighting the fight, y'all. That's right. We have a long way to go, and that's sad for it to be 2020, but we still have a long way to go. But we all have to come together as a community. You know, there's so many harsh words about pro-Gainesville, and why, I don't know. But then it comes to mind because they want us to sit down and be quiet. They want us to stay back in the 60s. That's right. Times have changed, and we have to move with it. So I'm just thankful for everyone that came out and support. And just remember, we're out here. If y'all not registered to vote, please come out and get registered. Your vote is your voice. And if y'all don't like what's going on now, get up off your bottoms, come out and register. Thank you. No, you ain't talking.
Anybody else?
No.
Come on.
All right, so we're just going to stand here. We're going to do a couple of marches around the courthouse as well in just a moment. But we're just going to chant with our voices right here for just a moment, okay?
Hey, hey, ho, ho! This race statue has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! This race statue has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! This race statue has got to go!
Today it is a small turnout here in Cook County in Gainesville, but it is a couple dozen folks who seem committed to their message. I don't know if you guys, if you were tuning in earlier, there are a few deputies, Cook County deputies, positioned inside the Cook County Courthouse. though they're hiding from me. They refused to identify themselves when I asked, so they went inside. There is an undercover officer sitting on the other end of the square there, who I noted earlier. We do have a few counter-protesters, or I guess looky-loos now at this point. They just like to come out and watch.
I got it. Then they show that
so it looks like we're setting up a voter registration table.
So
awesome. We'll come over here and say hi to my friends over here. How y'all doing? Well, I'm good. I'm here. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
Yep. I was irritated to see that they have some new Cook County deputies here who refuse to identify themselves.
What?
So when I walked up, Lieutenant Plank, old Chris as I like to call him, he was out here and he had a deputy with him who I've never seen out here before, and who is not in my roster of deputies, because you know I keep a running file of deputies, which I know they love. And when I asked him to identify himself, they just went inside. So then I walked around to the other side, and they were standing outside over there, and I was like, "Hey, what y'all doing?" And they went ahead and ran inside. I was like, I'm pointing a gun at them or something, just because I got a camera on them. But apparently, Sheriff Gilbert has instructed his deputies that they are literally not allowed to talk to me.
They're not allowed.
Yeah, they're not allowed to talk to me. Apparently, Tori and Justin had a meeting, and they have Sheriff Terry Gilbert on audio recording saying that he has instructed his deputies that they are not allowed to speak to me, which is against the law. Any officer, any LEO in the state of Texas is required to identify themselves.
Okay, what you do with Phillips? I ain't seen Evans.
Oh, Chief Phillips? You know, I'm wearing a shirt for him today. It's just for him every Sunday, Chief. He hides from me too now. Ever since
I see.
he doesn't come out anymore either. I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
You know what I find remarkable is, you know, all the reaction they did at first when all this started. They brought all these cops out here, and they made this huge show of force. They call in all these white militias, right? Thinking that was going to intimidate everybody. When that didn't work, then they cut off the lawn, you know, try to deny people access to public property. Then when they get called out for that, they think that what they're going to do is just not show up at all, and think that because there's not a group of white supremacists out here to argue with, people won't come out. As if that's what people wanted to do. As if people wanted to come out and have a bunch of white supremacists point guns at them and scream nasty stuff. You know, I mean, it just never ceases to amaze me. But I'm glad to see that, even when the folks who like been the forefront of it, you know, because not everybody can be here every time. It's really awesome to see people coming out here and standing firm, and making the message be known. This isn't going away. It's not going away. The conversation's not going away. So I'm happy to see that. I do find it interesting, though, that they have an undercover deputy over there. Hey, how y'all doing? Come on out, it's lovely. Y'all came out here and stood in your camo gear for November in the middle of July. Now it's beautiful. Y'all come out and join us.
Coming out.
What are you scared of, Plank?
Oh, they hate you.
What are you scared of?
Yeah,
that's like the third time I've seen it. Have y'all seen it more than that?
Yes.
The white one?
Yeah.
Oh, this one across the street?
Yeah.
I've seen that white truck 3 times.
He goes far, then he goes up there.
What I like is watching how many times they, like, I wish I could get $5 for every time a truck drove by here and either jumped that curb over there,
Right.
or went, or like almost did because they're so busy craning, you know? Y'all need any water or anything from the cooler over here? Okay. Hi, booby. Hey, do love. Sin? Oh, I love it. Hi, Sin. Hi, Sin. Oh, I know. Hi. Are you a protest dog? You're a protest dog? Yeah, protest dog. I love it. Sin, a protest dog. Yeah. Good job, Sin. Good job.
And now
Good
we're trying to
dog.
get him calm because he's jumping up every time he sees the other dog.
Well, I think he's doing a great job. You look like you're doing a good job of handling him, too. I love him. Sin, the protest dog. It's the best. So, some of the protesters were pointing out, of course, the repeat trucks and vehicles that like to come by. Hi! More protest dogs. Hi, protest dog. Somebody needs to start like an Instagram protest dog account.
Oh, I'm sure there's tons.
Black Lives Matter.
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 Hey, ho, ho.
That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go.
When black lives are under attack.
Fist up, fight back.
When black lives are under attack.
Fist up, fight
When
back.
black freedoms are under attack.
Fist up, fight back.
When black freedoms are under attack.
Fist up, fight back.
When black lives are under attack.
Fist up, fight back.
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 No justice,
No
no
peace.
peace. No justice,
No peace.
No justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no UDC, no KKK, no racist USA.
No UDC, no KKK, no racist USA. No UDC, no KKK, no racist USA. No UDC, no KKK, no racist USA.
No UDC, no KKK, no racist USA.
No UDC, no KKK, no racist USA.
Black Lives Matter.
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 Give me a B.
B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black Lives Matter.
What's that mean?
Black Lives Matter.
Give me a B.
B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black Lives Matter.
What's that mean?
Black Lives Matter.
Show them what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show them what diversity
This is what diversity looks like. This is what America looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. That race statue has got to go.
So that's one of our regular protesters who drives out from Dallas. And she is hugging the counter-protester on hookers, the guys who come out to document the protest each week.
Ho, ho. That race statue has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. That race statue has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. That race statue has got to go.
No UDC, no KKK, no racist USA.
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 All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter.
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter.
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Say their name.
Which one?
Say their name.
Which one?
Say her name. Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Say his name. Jonathan Price. Say his name.
Jonathan Price.
Say his name.
Jonathan Price.
Say his name.
Jonathan Price.
Say his name.
Jonathan Price.
Say their name.
Which one?
Say their name.
Which one?
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter.
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter.
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter.
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace. No peace.
I was just rolling around in my brain and it just...
I caught you on camera too, girl. I came up right behind you. I caught you. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go.
Just to bring another point of why this statue should be removed, everybody, we've talked frequently about the Great Hanging, but it was October 2nd in 1862, which is just a couple of days ago, when the Confederates started the trials against the 40 people that were hung just down the street. And so here we go, marking another anniversary of that happened with the statue standing here, spitting at the graves of those people who lost their lives during that lynching, basically. They call it the Great Hanging of Texas, but it was a lynching of white men, but a lynching nonetheless.
The largest mass hanging of white men in the United States history.
In history. It's in the Texas history books. They're supposed to teach us in school. That's how prevalent it is. And at some point, the Cook County and Gainesville, Texas, thought it was appropriate enough to have one Confederate statue, but two Confederate statues here. So this is why we continue to call for its removal. This statue is it's not something new.
So we got our voter registration table as usual here. Every time there's a protest in Gainesville, they set up a voter registration table. Hey, support! Black Lives Matter! Thank you.
If you want to call that support,
Yeah.
like lip service, I'll take
In this town, it's about as good as it gets, I think, sometimes. But I'll take a fist up over a racial slur out the window any day.
or a middle finger.
Or a middle finger. Or a death threat. You know, we'll take progress in the increments we can get it in this town.
It doesn't represent our history. Why is our court commissioners fighting
Oh,
so
yeah.
hard to keep it here?
Passively show support, but
They need to move it off the county property immediately. And so we will continue protesting.
So I've been getting some reports about Tyler. I'm trying to get more information about exactly what's happening, but apparently in Tyler, like every other Monday, folks have been trying to rally outside the courthouse there for the Cook County, for the Tyler, the Cook County Commissioners there. I can't remember what county it is. Is it? Okay, okay. So there's some stuff happening there that I'm trying to get more information about. Also, I know there's a Deconfederate tour coming up, and I'm gonna try to do some work with that, but yeah, I'm gonna reach out to yeah, they are coming back here. They are, from what I understand. And I'm hoping I'll be able to do maybe a few dates with them. I was supposed to get an email, but I don't think it came through. I need to follow up about that. So I looked for it today, but I'm hoping that it does continue successfully. I think that the Deconfederate movement is something that provides something real and like concrete that people can look at and see, like these systemic, historic forms of racial oppression that still exist. I hope so, you know. I love that she's still over here. She's still over here engaging these folks. She cracks me up. She drives all the way from Dallas. I love her for it.
Democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show them what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show them what diversity looks like.
This is what diversity looks like.
Show them what America looks like.
This is what America looks
She's over there
like.
Show them what America
because
looks
Sam
like.
left.
This
She
is
always
what
tries.
America looks like.
I can't hear y'all. Show them what America looks like.
This is what America looks like.
Show them what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Black Lives Matter.
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 No UDC, no KKK, no racist USA.
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 Give me a B.
B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black lives matter.
What's that mean?
Black lives
Give me
matter.
a B.
B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black lives matter.
What's that mean?
Black lives matter.
Give me a B.
B, I got your B, I got your B.
Give me an L.
L, I got your L, I got your L.
Give me an M.
M, I got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black lives matter.
What's that mean?
Black lives matter.
Hey, hey. Oh, ho. That red statue has got to go.
Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go.
Hey, hey. Oh, ho. This red statue has got to go.
Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That racist statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Fist up, fight back. Fist up, fight back.
Fist up, fight back.
Fist up, fight back.
Black Lives Matter.
Black lives matter.
Black Lives Matter.
There's deputies hiding up here as usual.
All lives matter.
statue has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go. Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go.
I was wondering, I'm like, what happened there? She said, Black Lives Matter. Where? She said, where? Where do they matter? Shit. She can't assume what they do here. That's a damn shame. Well, I'm going to go point my camera at the authorities just to fuck with them because I love it so much. I'll be right back. Every time I go up to them, they just run away. So we still got a good
march around the courthouse.
Looks like we're going to have a march around the courthouse. I love you, Mike.
They finna march and scoot back out.
We gonna wear something.
You want the megaphone?
Come on, Grace, take the megaphone. I'm ready.
You ready? Okay, it's on. When it's on, this is just the volume of this one.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No peace. No peace. B, I got your B, I got your B. L, I got your L, I got your L. M, I got your M, I got your M. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. B, I got your B, I got your B. L, I got your L, I got your
Give me an L!
I got your L, I got your L.
M!
M, I got your M, I got your M.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. That race statue has got to go. That race statue has got to go. Hey, hey. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter!
George Floyd.
Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! That race statue has got to go!
When
No peace! No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace! No peace! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
got your M, I got your M.
What's that spell?
Black Lives Matter.
What does that mean?
Black Lives Matter.
I got your B, I got your B.
L, I got your L, I got your L. M, I got your M, I got your M. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. B, I got your B, I got your B. L, I got your L, I got your L. M, I got your M, I got your M. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. No peace. No peace.
What's your name and your badge number?
No peace.
You're required by law to give your name and badge number when asked. Even if you don't like me, y'all just make the law up as you go along. I'm talking to you. You don't think you have to tell me your name and badge number? Your sheriff gave you a bad order when he did that. It doesn't matter whether or not you like me. You're supposed to give your name and badge number. Sir, when did you decide you're above the law? Was that when you took your initial oath or 2 weeks in or? You don't think you're obligated to give your name and badge number? Wow, protect and serve who? I think they like me. Fucking cowards. Cowards! You know who else hides their identity? Members of the Ku Klux Klan. Why y'all acting like Klansmen? Why don't you just give your name and badge number like you're obligated to by law? Don't understand what you're afraid of. It's just the law. Thought your job was to enforce the law. Why are y'all afraid of me? Huh. It's the damnedest thing, I tell you. They're on the south, or on the east side. South side. Lord, why was you turned around? South. They're coming around. It's just a simple question.
They don't want to answer it.
Name, badge number.
If they answer it, I'll see.
I know. That's why I ask. So that's Cook County Sheriff's Department. Deputies, as usual, refusing to give their name and badge numbers as required by law because Cook County Sheriff Terry Gilbert, head Klansman, has informed them not to speak to me. Hey, how you doing? Black Lives Matter. Oh, she says no, they don't.
No. I already talked to them
Oh,
for
I'm
a
not
long
talking to
time.
them. I'm talking to the guy in the car. I know who they are. I know what they're about.
She captured everything, so
Yeah, I
I
know.
talked to them for 1 hour.
Yeah, I know who they are. I know what they're about.
I know.
They don't matter to me. All right, here they come.
I talked to them for almost an hour.
I saw you. They
Yeah,
won't.
you did?
Yeah,
But I'm getting this.
they won't do it.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. All lives don't matter what. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
They broke them all down.
Black Lives Matter. Ooh, look at you, rocking it, baby, rock it. You're doing great. Love him.
Black Lives Matter. B, I got your B, I got your B.
So if you're watching this right now, and you may be used to watching larger protests, I can't emphasize enough what a big deal it is that this community is out here marching, considering that for months when they came out to do this, they were met by hundreds of armed white militiamen who threatened them and terrorized them, while those militiamen were protected by the same Cook County deputies who you see refusing to speak to me right now. You know, the terrorization campaigns that were enacted to scare people from coming out and doing this are real, and they are still ongoing. The community organizers who lead activism here in Gainesville have had to install extensive home surveillance systems. We have to hire armed guards to come out and march with us. Because quite frankly, as you can see, I mean, these deputies who just continue to sneak off and hide away and refuse to engage, they've made it abundantly clear that they are not here to serve the protesters equally and fairly. You know, we've proven, it was proven multiple times that the white militias that were brought out to Gainesville to terrorize folks were brought in with calls from leaders in the local police departments, city and county. And so the fact that people are continuing to come out here together in this small rural community, sometimes it's 24, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 100. But the fact that they continue to come out regardless is significant and impactful. And it's a shame that they can't even count on the local police departments that they pay for with their own taxes to protect them. Your B, L, I got your L, I got your L, M, I got your M, I got your M. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. B, I got your B, I got your B, L, I got your L, I got your L, M, I got your M, I got your M. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Hey Plank, how you doing? Hey buddy. Where's my friend Walters? Where's my buddy Walters? I sure do miss him. It's like he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. I can't imagine why. What are y'all afraid of? Y'all getting paid all that overtime duty to hide out in the building? What a cush job. All that matters is target practice, right?
We gotta let them know it. We gotta let them hear it. We gotta let them feel it. Because this needs to come down. Yes, ma'am. You gotta mean it. You gotta want it. We gotta tell them. We're not playing. We're gonna do this every Sunday until it comes what? Down. 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 So you gotta express this to them, okay, guys? No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. All lives can't matter to what? Black Lives Matter. All lives can't matter to what? Black Lives
people.
We the people.
We want change.
We want change.
We the people.
We the people.
We won't quit.
We won't quit.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Until there's change.
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 Until there's change. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back.
So, if you're just tuning in, this is Gainesville, Texas, in North Texas, in Cook County. We are on the Cook County Courthouse lawn in Gainesville, Texas. If you are commenting on Facebook or Twitter or Periscope, please forgive me, I cannot see your comments because we're going through multiple platforms. But in Gainesville here, local black leaders have been calling for the removal of multiple Confederate tributes for more than a year now, but they have been actively protesting and marching, demanding the removal of this monument in particular, as well as another that is located in a city park not too far from here. Both monuments were erected during the Jim Crow era, more than 50 years after the the Civil War and the what is supposed dissolvement of the Confederacy. But as I've explained in most of my videos, especially in Texas, in North Texas in particular, even though the majority of counties like Cook County voted against secession and voted to stay with the Union, Confederate forces retained power, and neo-Confederate leaders continue to control local city and county governments in the years and decades following the war. They erected Confederate tributes like this one, which is loaded with white supremacist inscriptions. This one here on the front refers to Confederate soldiers as revolutionary sires whose patriotism should be taught to children and mirrored. And so this is not just a tribute to Confederate soldiers, but to the white supremacist ideals. This side of the monument over here has an inscription talking about how the South was just in its war for white supremacy. Over here on this side of the monument, the inscription is a blatant ode to white supremacy. As it states, "A home of tears, but let her bear this blazon to the end of time. No nation rose so white and fair, none fell so pure of crime." And again, this is one of two monuments. All of the elementary schools, pretty much all of the public schools in Gainesville, just about all of them, are named after Confederate soldiers and heroes. It is there in Cook County. The black population makes up less than 3% of the population. They are definitely a minority. They have no political representation in the Cook County government. There has never been a black member of Cook County Commissioner's Court. I mean, white supremacy is the norm here. It is the standard in Cook County and Gainesville and in the small cities inside of Cook County, like it is in most rural North Texas communities. And so the very act of this community coming out to assemble and demand recognition for systemic racism and demand change is historic. It is epic. They definitely need more support. If you can, if you live in the North Texas area, these protests take place every Sunday at 5:30 right here on the Cook County Courthouse lawn, 101 South Dixon Street. And local community leaders have pledged to continue to rally here and meet and protest no matter what until the monuments are removed. So if if you can come out and support and stand in solidarity, it is needed, especially white bodies. If you can come out and stand in solidarity with black community members, to let them know that they are supported, to listen to their stories and listen to their experiences, it is critical. Tonight is a little bit of a slower night. I think, there's been some shifts in what's going on locally. I know that some of the younger leaders who have been taking on the brunt of responsibilities here took a personal day, but regardless, the community is here and they are going to continue to be here, and this isn't going to go away. People are going to continue to march. They're going to continue to demand their rights. They're going to continue to demand recognition. This will be ongoing every Sunday until this monument and the rest of the Confederate tributes in this community are removed.
Right. Jessica.
Yes.
Say something.
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 Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. It's that simple. Black Lives Matter. Sheriff Terry Gilbert is a racist thug. His deputies are racist thugs and cowards who refuse to give their names and badge numbers like they're required to by law.
Yeah.
Sheriff Terry
What
Gilbert.
happened to Philip? You always stuck in my head.
Chief Kevin Phillips is the chief. Is the
I
white
don't see him no more.
supremacist.
I see you all the time, but you call his name. I
Terry
don't see him no
Gilbert
more.
doesn't show his face anymore because he knows he's a racist thug. He knows that he's the chief terrorist of
What happened? I
Gainesville.
don't see a lot of police anymore when I used to come here.
Yeah, well, the white supremacists have had to be called off because the chief of police and Sheriff Terry Gilbert got called out by the ACLU because they called in white militias to come in and terrorize black and brown people in their own community. So now they don't have to come out and babysit a bunch of drunk white supremacists pointing their guns at people.
I love you.
I love
Always.
you too. Thank you. I love you too.
Welcome, sweetie. This is beautiful. You need to photograph that from the
I did. Yeah, I've been walking up and down getting it. I'm very proud to see people out here tonight continuing to
What a
demand their
long
voices be
walk.
heard.
You work for it? Go back. What can I do to help more?
I think just showing up, just showing up and chanting and bringing people out and telling people about it. That's all we can do is keep the
This
conversation
is
relevant.
beautiful. This is
Yeah.
what American nowadays, how the American is.
What cracks me up are these looky-loos, like this woman over here across the street who, they come out, this woman here, they come out to document and take pictures and to basically, black liberation is entertainment for them. Somebody referred to it recently. I heard someone talk about referring to it as trauma porn, which I couldn't agree more. It's one thing to come out here and stand in solidarity with people and document and put a camera and a voice, put a microphone and a camera on local black residents and amplify their message. It's another thing to stand from afar and to quote unquote take a unbiased stand and just document. That's
I have to tell you
pretty
something,
nasty
Jessica.
to
With
me.
those people, we have 45 minutes conversation.
Yeah, the folks across the street.
She photographed it.
I was
Took
zooming
45
in
minutes.
on you.
And it was productive conversation.
You think it was productive?
Absolutely.
Tell me about it.
Because they don't agree with that, believe it or not. But one of them said he didn't even pay attention to it but he asked me why now. So I told him George Floyd, what happened triggered not only U.S., it triggered the world. That's why, as you don't pay attention, we never pay attention to it either.
Well, and people in Gainesville were talking
But they don't
about
know
this
what that
monument
meant.
before.
Like, he meant like he never knew it was even there.
Right.
So you kind of have to educate them. And the other guy, he said, I agree. What happened to George Floyd was wrong. The cop need to go to jail. They agree with that. But they need more education.
So
And
do
then-
they
and then
agree
they
that
come
the
to like-
monument shouldn't be here?
they say it's a part of history, but I was telling them, but it's a reminder, painful part of the history.
But it teaches a false history.
Yes, but it happened. Like they agree, he didn't even know better back then. So like we can compromise, but I have to tell him what this means for other people. Like when I was telling him, if I kill your grandparents and if I put in a public property, it's a reminder to you all the time that I killed your grandparents or your people. You don't want that.
Right.
But you can reserve history. No one disputes with that. And like I personally don't.
Right.
But you have to remove it.
What did they give you a reason why they're here?
They just want to watch.
Yeah.
They literally come to my car when I park. Because when I pull over here, I horn the protester and I open the park. And I told them, come here. They were me by my car talking to me. And I was like, wait, let me come out. I said, first of all, give me a hug.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they all did. So we're talking. They poured out. They don't appreciate that you flip it. They say they flip a finger on me. I said, who did? Oh, Jessica did.
I never flipped them off. Y'all lie. I never flipped you off, you liars. Liars. You big liars.
No.
I mean, I will. I have no problem, but you liars.
Jessica, no, but that's what I'm telling you what the conversation took. But why the Irish, why other people's life doesn't matter? Because black people
Irish lives do matter.
They are still under attack. The proof is George Floyd.
Oh, Lord.
But I'll tell you this, most of it, they agree.
If they agree, why aren't they over here?
Because what they don't agree is the Irish, the other people's life matters too. But what they don't understand, they need more education. What my conclusion?
Of course they do.
My conclusion.
Yeah.
So, but I know I got through them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, love matters.
Yeah, I think the problem
We
is
have to put the bad history
black
behind
people,
us.
you know, black history hasn't been taught at all, and there's been a corrupted version of white
promise
history
you,
taught.
Jessica,
You know,
I
white
think
people
I
have
got
been
through
indoctrinated.
education.
Yeah, education is
They don't understand
needed.
because George Floyd, even myself, I didn't know how much brutality was going on in the police. How these people, the Black American people, were just killed after one another. I didn't know that. You didn't know that until George Floyd brought it in surface.
Well, they should be listening to more black voices then, because it's not a new topic of conversation. Right?
Yeah, I think like you always say, just got education to educate people because they don't understand.
Yeah. What you so afraid of?
Yes, I try to make it every Sunday. Yeah. Living out of town, you know?
Yeah.
Do you live here?
I do.
Dude, I need to be out of here with a flag like that, dude. I need to be building up my biceps, dude. Fuck.
He's gonna be sore tomorrow.
No shit. I'm sore when we march and I'll hold this thing up like this for 2.5 hours.
I'm gonna be sore just watching him.
No shit. Bye!
I just get as much as I put in up.
This guy wins Armed Gusto of the Year award. Flag Commitment of the Year award. Yeah. Yeah, baby!
She got 6 kids.
You know, that just goes to show you the...
Taking care of no kid now. She can't punch and keep going.
That goes to show you that I was just talking about how small the black population is here, right? I mean, one person drives by and you know who it is.
That's my daughter.
Huh?
She need to keep going. She got too many kids.
Love it.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Why you mad?
Yeah, he need to be out here too.
Why you mad?
And you black. Why is you mad?
Mm-hmm.
Give me an L.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
This is what community looks like.
Tell me what community looks like.
Dude, homeboy is still down there in the same spot. Tell me that's not what I Well, he went inside the floor.
This is what democracy looks like.
Like, really? They need an undercover cop for this?
This is what democracy looks like.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Which is the only reason why those guys don't feel like they have to sit out here and babysit with them. Because they know they got you out here putting on. You ever heard a horn that sounded like cunt before? Black Lives Matter! Come back and stay a while!
Black lives are under attack.
This up like that.
Black women are under attack.
This up like that.
Black girls are under attack.
This up like that.
Black boys are under attack.
This up like that.
Black men are under attack.
This up like that.
Black trans are under attack.
This up like that.
All lives don't matter what.
Black lives matter.
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 No Trump, no
KKK, no racist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no racist USA.
Everybody's driving by with ice cream cones. How the fuck did we get those? I mean, geez.
McDonald's is busy.
No shit. I think McDonald's is gourmet in Gainesville, man.
Trump, no KKK, no racist USA. No racist USA. We want change. We the people. We won't quit.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. Until there's change.
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 Until there's change. Until there's change. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Fight back. Fight back. Fight back. Fight back.
What do you want?
Justice.
When do you want it?
Now.
What do you want?
Justice.
When do you want it?
Now.
What do you want?
Justice.
When do you want it?
Now.
If we don't get it,
Shut it down.
if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
George Floyd don't get it,
Shut it down.
Deontay don't get it,
Shut it down.
Jefferson don't get it,
Shut it down.
Pumpkin John don't
Shut it down!
Hey, hey! Oh, this race section has got to go! Hey, hey!
I'm gonna walk over here and talk to this dude and see if I can't get him to admit the fact that he's a cop. Even though I know he doesn't want to. So I'm just curious, you work for Cook County or the city or?
I'm retired.
You're retired? Out here doing volunteer work?
Nope.
No. Just a spectator, huh?
Just a spectator.
Why don't I believe that?
I don't know.
You don't know, huh? Maybe it's just my intuitive sense. Most people laugh when they don't have a good answer. That's all right. I wouldn't want to tell me either. That's all right.
I'm just retired.
Retired from what?
Working.
Working where?
You name it. Environmental work, construction.
No law enforcement experience, huh?
No.
Okay. All right. What's your name? Do you mind me asking? My name's Jessica, by the way.
Jessica, my name's Richard.
Nice to meet you, Richard.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Have a good night, Richard.
You too. It's a beautiful night.
It is. Indeed they are, which makes it a good night for me.
Probably the first time out here, I learned about lesson.
Yeah, to put on bug spray? Yeah, dude.
Took a bath in it.
Yeah, I usually carry it in my bag, so if you're ever out working an event with me and you need some, it's one of my go-tos. I've learned to carry it. Did you buy any of that wine?
Actually, yes.
You think so? I'll tell you what though. What cut fits that mold that wants to come out and just have a clear line of sight to this group for 2 hours? He's been there since before we started. Yeah. You know what? If we could prove it one way or another, I'd put 50 on it.
Right?
I would. I wanted to come over here and get a shot of our crew here. Currently making changes in my life. If you're not clear from me, if you don't hear from me, you're one of them. Interesting, that's what that truck says. Again, this is the city of Gainesville, Cook County, Texas. Ooh, scary. My motorcycle's cooler than yours, just so you know, you little fucking twerp. I love when these guys fucking rev up their stock fucking mufflers. Like, dude, if you're gonna have a stock muffler, at least fucking cut it or some shit. Like, you sound like a fucking pansy. Can't hear y'all. I know, dude. He wins the award, man.
Does that for a living, one of those guys
He,
that does
you
the furniture
know,
store
he
deal?
might be, dude, or maybe he just raves, you know, like maybe he's a raver and he spins, you know, and he's putting those biceps to a good cause. I love him for it. So whenever people scream their support, the response is park your car. What time is it? You know? What time is it?
7:17.
Okay. Man, you know it's fall when it starts getting dark this early. It's crazy. It feels like literally 2 weeks ago we were out here at this time still sweating to death. As a matter of fact, I think it was, yeah, till 9. So this is Gainesville, Texas, Cook County, North Texas. Protesters are demanding the removal of a Confederate monument on the Cook County courthouse lawn. I'm gonna go see if I can't get the cops to meet their legal obligation to identify themselves again one more time before I go. Just to let them know I'm thinking of them. I hate for them to think that I have forgotten about them. I know how much they miss me when I don't talk to them. All those weapons, and they're still afraid of one girl with a camera. You would prefer that I not jaywalk, wouldn't you?
It's real odd.
Get some of this chalk out here. We've got a rival.
Black Louis better!
So this is the last dozen protesters out here.
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter!
All lives can't matter till what?
Black Lives Matter!
All lives can't matter till what? All lives can't matter till what?
Stop for now, but it seems like they're committed to staying out here later, so I'm going to keep documenting so long as they are.
Black lives matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Black voices matter!
Black voices matter!
Black children matter!
Black children matter!
Black lives matter!
Black Lives Matter!
So we're going to go ahead and end our event tonight. I want to thank everybody. I know we didn't march and a lot of people were wanting to. We just marched around the courthouse. We look forward to seeing everybody again next Sunday as well, 5:30 every single Sunday. If you need an escort to your car, let us know. But we're going to go ahead and close out now while the sun's going down.
Thank you.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Be sure the Gainesville Independent School District, we put on our Facebook, they are accepting name nominations for the renaming of Robert E. Lee Intermediate School and other facilities on the premises. So those need to be turned in by the 16th to the Gainesville ISD administration building. So you can find the form on their website or on our Facebook page, and you can turn it in to them. If you need help getting it to them, let us know, and we can get it in for you.
So what you're saying is protesting is putting pressure on local officials to make changes and remove tributes to white supremacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is another successful evening in Gainesville, Cook County, Texas. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I'll give it a wrap up here. So this ends another successful night here in Gainesville, Cook County, Texas, where local organizers have been protesting and organizing for months now, calling for the removal of this Confederate monument here, as well as a number of other Confederate tributes. As you just heard, Justin from Pro Gainesville was just announcing that not only have they gotten the city of Gainesville to agree to remove one Confederate monument in a local city park, good night, but local schools are now taking nominations and, suggestions for names so that, good night, be safe, be well, so that local elementary schools and primary schools can be renamed, as they too all bear the names of Confederate soldiers, Confederate heroes. So change is happening. The biggest holdout, of course, still is the Cook County Courthouse Confederate Monument. Cook County commissioners still refuse to engage or meet with local black community leaders and community organizers. As you heard earlier this evening, Cook County Sheriff Terry Gilbert instructs his deputies not to speak to me or other white allies who come out to document their endeavors and their efforts, mostly because I call them out for being white supremacist thugs, because they are. So stay tuned, stay paying attention to what's happening in Gainesville and Cook County. I have no doubt that there will be another stronger march next week Hopefully they will resume marching into local neighborhoods. We shall see. Whatever they decide to do, I will be here to cover it. Thank you guys for watching and supporting Gainesville and the Black community in Cook County as they demand the removal of white supremacist monuments. See ya again soon.